all, how are you? Hope you people are doing fantastic and we are doing great here. Today I have come up with the second model paper which was released by SSLC board for the year 2021. First model paper was already covered. Its link is provided in the description where you can just go and check it out. And as you all know, we have covered all the chapters of class 10 science and mathematics. Each and every concept is covered in a detailed way. If you want a concept clarity on the topics, you just have to go to the playlist and check it out with the chapters. And playlist links are provided in the description also. And I have come up with one important information that we have created Telegram groups for class 10 science and class 10 mathematics. So you can join us in Telegram so that you can get access to us. We can share lots of information and we keep uploading lots of question papers for various boards, and we will give some important questions and many more tips you will get from us. So please do join us in Telegram group with us. Fine. So as I already told you in the first model paper, this year question paper pattern is slightly changed. Question paper is divided into three groups. Group A, that is part A, part B and part C. So part A is of physics questions, part B is of chemistry questions and part C is of bio questions. So as I already discussed, part A, that is physics questions, will weigh around 28 marks and chemistry is about 25 marks and bio is of 27 marks. So all together you have for 80 marks, right? So this is our pattern of question paper. And now let us discuss about the physics part, that is part A. Say in every part you have MCQs, 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark as well as 5 mark questions, isn't it? So let us talk about part A physics MCQs. So here is the first question. The source of energy in nuclear power reactor is, so definitely it is a nuclear fission reaction, isn't it? There are 4 options: nuclear fission reaction, exothermic chemical reaction, nuclear fusion reaction, controlled nuclear fission chain reaction. So definitely which reaction you will expect in nuclear power reactor? It is definitely nuclear fission reaction. Okay, and actually this particular topic, alternative sources of energy, topic is actually deleted for this year. Don't know why they have given this question in the model paper. Anyway, it is quite a simple question where everybody can guess, right? Fine. Let us go for the second MCQ. Which of the following is not a property of magnetic lines? Listen carefully. Not a property of magnetic field lines. First option, magnetic field lines are dense near the poles. So definitely near the poles, magnetic field lines are very much strong. This is a correct statement. Next, magnetic field lines are closed loops. Definitely correct. Third option, magnetic field lines intersect with each other. Definitely no. Magnetic field lines do not intersect with each other, isn't it? So this is a wrong statement that is given on properties of magnetic field lines. So your correct answer is option C. Fine. Coming to the third question, very simple numerical. The work done in moving a charge of 2 coulombs across 2 points having a potential difference 12 volts is. They are asking the work done, and what they have given, charge is given. How much is the charge given? So charge is 2 coulombs, and then they have given potential difference, that is voltage is given, that is 12 volts. And we all very well know that voltage is equal to work done by charge, isn't it? So what they are asking you to calculate, work done they are asking, so it is nothing but voltage into charge. So voltage is 12 and charge is 2 coulomb. So definitely work done is 24 joules. So where is the option? That is the first option is correct, 24 joules. So very simple numerical. Coming to the fourth question. The correct way of using electrical appliances in domestic electric circuit is connecting electrical appliances in series? No, right? In domestic electric circuits, we connect the electrical appliances in parallel, right? So this is actually a wrong thing, doesn't applicable for domestic electric circuit. Second one, using an electrical appliance of 880 volts power in 5 ampere electric current. So can we use an electrical appliances of 880 watt in 5 ampere electric circuit? So let us see how do we calculate this. Say we just can do 880 divided by 220, isn't it? Because in India, the voltage supplied for every house is 220. So I can be calculated something like this. So what is the I value you will get? 4 ampere. So it is falling within 5 ampere range only. So definitely you can use an electrical appliances of these many watts in 5 ampere circuit, because the total current taken by this particular electrical appliances is this much, right? So you can use that electrical appliances in 5 ampere circuit, isn't it? So option B is the correct answer for the fourth MCQ. That's it. MCQs are done. Now coming to the second main. So we are going for the second main and it's a 1 mark question. Very simple question. That is, I'm talking about the fifth question. State Fleming's left hand rule. So very simple. Fleming's left hand rule. Fleming's left hand rule states that if you keep your 3 fingers perpendicular to each other, which are the 3 fingers? Thumb finger, forefinger and middle finger, isn't it? So when you keep the 3 fingers perpendicular to each other, if your index finger is indicating the direction of magnetic field, middle finger indicates the direction of current, then the thumb finger will tell you the force acting upon a conductor, isn't it? So if you want to know the force acted upon a conductor, then you can always use the Fleming's left hand thumb rule. So its definition, I think everybody can able to write. Very simple one. So that was our fifth question. Coming to the sixth question. Name the lens. Name the lens that always produces erect, diminished and virtual image. So definitely it is our concave lens, isn't it? So our convex lens will produce real and inverted images, but concave lens in both the cases, you have 2 cases for concave lens, isn't it? In both the cases, you will have erect and diminished images, isn't it? Okay, so that's all about our second main. Now coming to the third main. There are 2 mark questions. Draw the diagram of the electric circuit used to study Ohm's law and label voltmeter, they asked you. So guys, this is the circuit diagram that we studied for Ohm's law. Do you remember? You will find this in your textbook, figure 12.2. Okay, and they didn't ask you any explanation. They just asked you to draw a circuit diagram. So you have to draw this circuit diagram and label the voltmeter. So which is a voltmeter here? Definitely this is your voltmeter, isn't it? So that is the answer for your 7th question. Just draw the circuit diagram and label the voltmeter. Fine. And coming to the 8th question. Biomass is a renewable source of energy. Definitely, biomass is a renewable source of energy. Justify this statement with suitable reasons. So you have to justify why do we call biomass as a renewable source of energy. So initially, first, what do you mean by biomass? Biomass is nothing but energy derived from organic matter. Yes or no? Energy derived from organic matter is called as biomass, isn't it? And you know, why do we call this as a renewable source of energy? So for that, you can give the first point as biomass inherits energy from the sun. Biomass inherits. It has energy from the sun. Inherits energy from sun, right? So whereas sun is the renewable source of energy, right? So next point is it can grow in short time. Biomass can develop or it can grow in short span of time. Develop in short span of time. Yes or no? See, for example, plants you take. They take carbon dioxide from atmosphere, they take sun's energy, they inherit sun's energy and they use all of them and they will grow, right? And once they die, you know, that's what, they undergo decomposition and you can use as a source of energy also, isn't it? So that's the way we can say that biomass is a renewable source of energy, right? Okay. And now, coming to the fourth main, 3-mark questions. These are our 3-mark questions. Coming to the 9th question. Draw the ray diagram to show the formation of image by a convex lens when the object is placed beyond 2f1. Mention the position and nature of the image with the help of the diagram. See, even in the first model paper, ray diagram was asked for 3 marks. So concentrate on all the ray diagrams for both convex lens and concave lens. So if you want to know how to draw them easily, if you want to know the entire concept of ray diagrams of concave and convex, you can go to a light chapter where I have given a very good detailed information, right? Where the link is provided in the description. Please have a look at the video. Fine. So you have to draw a ray diagram. What lens it is? Convex lens. So definitely convex lens, right? And this is our optic center, and a line passing through a optic center is a principal axis, right? And here let me take 2f1 and this is our f1. So this is f2 and this is our 2f2, isn't it? And now where is our object placed? Object is placed beyond 2f1, right? So here we have our object. So where is the image falling? So let us find it out. And I am drawing an incident ray parallel to the principal axis. So definitely this ray passed through the focus f2. And I will also take the incident ray passing through optic center, no refraction, isn't it? It passes straight. Don't forget to put this arrow mark, guys. If you don't put the arrow marks, marks will get cut. So careful with the ray diagram. So here is our image getting formed, isn't it? So what type of image it is? Definitely I can say it is real and inverted image, isn't it? Right. So that's it. They asked you what is the nature of image, right? Position. What is the position of image? Image position is between f2 and 2f2, isn't it? So position of the image you have to mention, nature of the image you have to mention. So that's it. Coming to the 10th question, very simple question on the chapter electricity. What is electric current, they are asking. Very simple. What do you mean by electric current? Rate of flow of charges. Rate of flow of charges is called as electric current, isn't it? Fine. Mention the use of battery in an electric circuit. So why do we use battery? Battery is used to create potential difference. To create potential difference, isn't it? Fine. Write the factors on which the resistance of a conductor depends. So on what factors resistance is depending? It depends on the length of a conductor. Yes or no? Resistance is directly proportional to the length of a conductor. Resistance is inversely proportional to the area of a conductor. Right? So any two factors you can mention there, and it also depends upon the nature of material, right? So all the factors you can mention there. Coming to the 11th question, guys, it's a very simple problem on electricity. Electric lamp whose resistance is 20 ohms and a conductor of resistance 4 ohms. They are connected in series to a 6-volt battery. Find the current through the circuit and the potential difference across the electric lamp and conductor. Okay, so what is the given information? They said you have a lamp whose resistance is 20 ohms and you also have a conductor whose resistance is 4 ohms, isn't it? So, and you have a battery of 6 volts. Voltage is equal to 6 volts. And they are asking you to find out current that is there in a circuit. So, first question is you have to find out the current. So, how do you find out the current here? Say we have our Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, isn't it? Fine. And you want the total resistance, right? So total resistance in series, how do you find? R1 plus R2. So if this is our R1 and this is our R2. So total resistance in series, R1 is how much? That is 20 ohms and R2 is 4 ohms. So your RS will become 24 ohms, isn't it? So this is what you will substitute in this formula. So I can write V is equal to I into RS. So what is our I? They asked you current I, isn't it? So I is equal to V by RS. So how much do you get? Voltage is how much? 6 divided by 24. So our I is 0.25 amperes. So this much is our I value. And now we have to find out potential difference across the lamp and potential difference across the conductor. We all know in a series our current remains constant but potential difference varies, isn't it? So let us find out potential difference across our lamp. So here the same Ohm's law we can use. V is equal to IR. Yes or no? Fine. So now V is equal to I, just now we got to know it is 0.25 into resistance that is present in a lamp is how much? 20. Right? So you would be getting around 5 volts, isn't it? So potential difference across the lamp is 5 volts. And now potential difference across the conductor you have to find out, isn't it? Fine. The same formula, V is equal to IR. So V is equal to I, we found out it is 0.25 into resistance across the conductor is how much? It is 4. So definitely V is equal to 1 volt we will get, right? So our current value is 0.25. Potential difference across the lamp is 5 volt. Potential difference across the conductor is 1 volt. So this is what the problem they asked you. Very, very simple problem, isn't it? Fine. Let us go for OR question. There is OR question here. It's also very simple question. A copper wire has diameter 0.5 mm and resistivity of 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter. What should be the length of this wire to make its resistance 10 ohms? So a copper wire has a diameter. So how much is the diameter? 0.5 mm they give you, right? So convert this into meters. I can write it as 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter, where I can simplify further. I can write it as 5 into 10 to the power of minus 4 meter. So this is our diameter. Later they gave you the resistivity value. So how much is the resistivity? 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter. And they also gave you the resistance. So R value they gave you, that is 10 ohms. And what are they asking you to find out? They are asking you to find out the length of a conductor. So definitely we know the formula. Resistivity is equal to R by D square by 4L. They're asking you length, right? So you can rearrange a formula. L is equal to resistance into pi into D square divided by 4 into resistivity. So you just have to substitute the value, guys. What is R value? It's given 10. What is pi? 3.14. What is D? 5 into 10 to the power of minus 4 whole square you have to do. Divided by 4 into resistivity is also given. So everything you just have to substitute in a formula and give the answer. Just do it and post the answer in a comment box. Let us see who will post the answer first. That's all about fourth main. Let us go for fifth main, which is a 4-mark question. There is only one 4-mark question. Let us discuss that. See the 12th question. State the laws of refraction of light. Yes, we all know what are the 2 laws of refraction. The first law, the incident ray, refracted ray and also normal all lie in a same plane is first law. What is the second law? Sin I by sin R. Sin I by sin R is equal to constant, isn't it? Which we also call it as Snell's law. So these are the 2 laws you can mention as laws of refraction. Direct question. Next, continuation of the question. Different media have different refractive index. Why? So why do different media has different refractive index? Because the speed of light in different medium is different. So what is the answer you will give here? Speed of light in different media is different, isn't it? So that is the reason we have, different medium has different refractive index, isn't it? Fine. And continuation of the question. The refractive index of glass is 1.5. What is the meaning of this statement? So what does this statement mean? It means that speed of light in glass is lesser by 1.5 compared to the speed of light in air, isn't it? So remember its meaning. Speed of light in glass is lesser by how much factor? Lesser by 1.5, isn't it? Compared to speed of light in air. So this is what the meaning of that sentence. So this is your 4-mark question. And now let us go for the 5-mark question which is there in a physics part. See guys, this 5-mark question is very much conceptual. It's right there on a board. Question along with the answer, clear step-by-step answer I have given on a board. Let me read out the question for you. Explain Faraday's experiment of magnet and coil. What factors can be observed when magnet is replaced by a coil carrying current? What are the conclusions that can be drawn by you from these experiments? State electromagnetic induction with the help of this experiment. So there are lots of questions, small questions involved here. Say the first thing, explain Faraday's experiment of magnet and coil. So you can draw this figure and explain it in 1 or 2 sentences. Say this is magnet and coil experiment, isn't it? This is a coil connected to galvanometer and here is a magnet. So what do we do in this experiment? We keep moving the magnet inside and outside. So as you keep moving the magnet inside and outside, what happens? Magnetic field changes occur around this coil. So that is responsible for inducing a current. How do you know that the current is generated in a conductor? It's by looking at the deflection in galvanometer, isn't it? So that's what I have written in a very simple sentences. You can draw the figure and write these points. Moving a magnet towards a coil sets up the current in the coil. This is confirmed by observing deflection in galvanometer needle. So this becomes your answer for that first part of a question. Now, what factors can be observed when the magnet is replaced by coil carrying current? So this magnet we will replace with another coil carrying current, isn't it? So this is coil 1, this is coil 2. Coil 1 is connected to a battery where we can pass the electric current in this particular circuit, and another coil, it is connected to a galvanometer. So what do we do here? As we give current and as we change the current in this coil 1, magnetic field around this changes. So magnetic field around coil 2 also changes. So that change in the magnetic field induces current, and that is observed by the deflection in the galvanometer, isn't it? So the same thing, draw the figure and you see the sentences that I have written. Current is induced in coil 2 when current in coil 1 is changed, right? That is your second part of a question. What are the conclusions that can be drawn by you from these experiments? Look at the conclusion I have written. As the current in first coil changes, the magnetic field associated with it changes. Hence, change in magnetic field lines in coil 2 changes. This causes induced current in coil 2. Right? We can induce current either by moving it in magnetic field or by changing magnetic field around it. Right? So that is the conclusion you can give. And the last part of the question you see. State electromagnetic induction with the help of this experiment. You just give the statement of electromagnetic induction. So what is the statement here? Changing magnetic field in a conductor induces a current in another conductor, isn't it? So changing magnetic field in a conductor can induce current in the nearby conductor, right? So that is what the definition of electromagnetic induction. So this is how if you can present your answer, you get a complete mark for the question. Very much conceptual question, isn't it? So that's all about our physics part, and now let us discuss about the questions of part B, that is chemistry. MCQs, let us discuss the 14th question now. Quite easy MCQs here. The name of carbon compound HCH double bond O. So what is the name? Definitely it is methanol. Yes or no? One carbon atom, so meth. And then the functional group aldehyde is there. Whenever aldehyde is there, we use the suffix Al. Al must come at the end, isn't it? So methanol is the answer. That means option A is your correct answer. 15th question. Observe the following stages of extraction of a metal from its ore. Sulphide ore, and then there is a box given. That means you have to write what process it is. After that process, you are doing some reduction. After reduction, you will actually get the metal, and that metal you will purify it in purification, isn't it? The process that has to be done in the empty boxes. So sulphide ore, we will convert it into oxide form, isn't it? Only then we will perform reduction. So what is the process that you call for the conversion of sulphide ore into oxide form? That is roasting. So roasting is the answer, isn't it? Say sulphide ore converted into oxide form by the process called roasting. So that's all about MCQs. Now let us go for the 8th main. 1 mark questions. 16th question. What is strong acid? So very simple way. Strong acid is the acid which completely undergoes dissociation. Strong acid always completely undergoes dissociation, isn't it? So such a acid we will call it as strong acid. One example can you give? That is HCl is the example for strong acid. 17th question. State modern periodic law. So what is modern periodic law? Chemical and physical properties are periodic functions of their atomic number is called modern periodic law. I repeat once again, chemical and physical properties of elements are the periodic functions of their atomic number is the definition for modern periodic law. Okay. 18th question. The metallic property of elements increases down the group in a modern periodic table. Why? So from top to bottom if you go, metallic character decreases. Why they are asking? It is because atomic size increases. Atomic size increases when you go from top to bottom, because we know the concept that atomic size is directly proportional to metallic character. See, all these things are very beautifully explained in the videos of the chapter periodic classification of elements. Playlist link is provided in the description. You can just go and enjoy the concepts. Clear? Until and unless you have complete concept clarity, you cannot answer such questions. So that's why have a complete clarity on the concept. So here what is the answer? Atomic size increases. That's it. 19th question. From carbon and its compounds chapter, what is substitution reaction? So you studied a substitution reaction, isn't it? When methane is reacted with chlorine in presence of sunlight. Can you tell me what did you get? CH3Cl plus HCl you got, right? So what happened here? One of the hydrogen of methane replaced by chlorine in presence of sunlight is called substitution reaction, right? One of the hydrogen is replaced by chlorine in presence of sunlight is called substitution reaction. Clear? So that is the definition of substitution. Next, let us go for 9th main. They are 2-mark questions. There are 3 2-mark questions. Let us discuss question number 20 here. The compounds, they have given certain compounds. Observe carefully. They are C2H4, C3H6, C4H8, C5H10 are homologous series. Why? Why they are homologous series? You observe the difference between this and this. What is the difference? Difference is of a CH2. Yes or no? One carbon is more here and 2 hydrogens are more here. Observe the difference between the second compound and third compound. Again, one carbon is more, 2 hydrogens are more in the third compound. Difference between both compounds are CH2. Again, the third and fourth compound, difference is CH2. So, successive members which have a difference of CH2 is called homologous series, isn't it? Write the general name and general formula for these carbon compounds. You know, they belong to a class of compounds called alkene. So, if you want, you can just put the formula of first one. How do you put? CH2 double bond CH2, right? So this is ethene, this is propene, this is butene, this is pentene. So all of them come under alkenes and they are asking their general formula also. So what is the general formula? CnH2n is the general formula for alkenes, isn't it? So that's all about your 20th question. And coming to question number 21. The atomic number of the element is 20. In which period of the modern periodic table could this element be placed? Why? How will you decide whether the element is a metal or a non-metal? So atomic number 20. So the moment atomic number 20, the element, which is the element that has atomic number 20, that is calcium. So when you write the electronic configuration of calcium, what do you write? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2. Isn't it? Right? So this is the electronic configuration. And if you see the last electronic configuration, 4 in the sense what? This is last shell number. Okay, so last shell number is 4 in the sense that particular element comes in 4th period. In which period does it come? 4th period. Remember guys, this is a short trick for you. If you write the electronic configuration, identify the last electron present in which shell. It is present in 4th shell. So that element always will be placed in which period? 4th period. Okay. Say this is how you can come to know in which period the element is there. Okay. And now why it is there in 4th period, they are asking. Why? Because the last electron is there in 4th shell. Because last electron is present in 4th shell. That is why it is placed in 4th period. Okay. What else they are asking? How will you decide whether an element is metal or a non-metal? Definitely this element is metal. Yes or no? Because this element can easily lose the last electrons. The one which can easily give its electrons is called as metal. Okay, say usually all first group elements and second group elements are metals only. This calcium comes in the second group. It is coming in a second group and it is coming in a 4th period. So first group, second group elements are metals. Since it is coming in the second group, we can call it as a metal. And the actual reason behind calling metal is what? This guy, this calcium, can easily give its electrons during a chemical reaction. The one which can easily give electrons is called as metal. Okay, so very much conceptual question. Definitely you must understand it carefully. Fine. And the last 2-mark question, that is our 22nd question. Why is metal oxide is called a basic oxide? Name the products obtained when copper oxide reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid. See, when copper oxide is reacting with dilute hydrochloric acid, what do you get? You will get copper chloride plus H2O. Yes or no? So what is the name of this product? Copper chloride. Copper chloride. Okay, say why do you call metal oxide as basic? Because these metal oxides can react with acid. Can react with acid. So if something is base, then only it can react with acid. No. Since it is reacting with acid, we can call this oxide as basic. Okay, so anything which has got a metal is always basic in nature. Anything that has a metal, okay, metal containing oxides, metal containing compounds are always basic in nature. Okay, so that's all about your 2-mark questions. And there is one OR question in 22nd question. OR question is also very nice. A test tube A contains distilled water. Test tube A has distilled water, right, whose pH is almost neutral, we know. And test tube B has some acidic solution. And test tube C has what? Basic solution. Fine. How could these samples be identified using red litmus paper, they asked. So if you dip a red litmus paper into a distilled water, no change in the color. No change in color of red litmus, isn't it? Because distilled water is neutral. And when you dip red litmus into an acidic solution, you know, red remains red only. Red remains red only. And when you dip red litmus paper to a basic solution, you know, red gets converted into, or I can say red becomes blue, isn't it? So this is your answer for that question. Fine. And now let us go back to 10th main. There are 3-mark questions. There are three 3-mark questions. Let us discuss the question number 23 now. Draw the diagram of the arrangement of the apparatus showing the reaction of zinc granules with dilute sulphuric acid and testing the hydrogen gas by burning. Label the following parts: zinc granules and delivery tube. Very easy diagram, yes or no, that you will come across in the chapter called acids, bases and salts. So you just have to refer the textbook for the diagram. Let me go for the 24th question now. Explain the properties of carbon due to which it forms large number of compounds. So why carbon compounds are huge in our nature? Why large number of carbon compounds are available in our nature? It is mainly because of 3 reasons. The first reason is tetravalency. So what do you mean by tetravalency? Carbon has valency 4. Because carbon has valency 4, it can make, yes or no, carbon can form covalent bonds, 4 covalent bonds around it. You all know what do you mean by covalent bonds. The bond that is formed by sharing of electrons is called covalent bonds. Okay, so it can share its electrons with 4 other atoms around it. That is what we mean by forming 4 covalent bonds around it. Okay, and the next point you can mention is, since the type of bonding in carbon compound is covalent bond, the bonds are very much strong and stable. Okay, bonds formed in carbon compounds is strong and stable. Strong and stable, right? So this is another point you can mention. And the last point that you can mention, and a very important property of carbon is catenation. So what do you mean by catenation? Self-linking property of carbon is called catenation. Self-linking property, yes or no? It can link with its own type of an atom to form long chains, or you can form branched chains, or you can form ringed structures, right? So this property is called catenation, right? Say you, since it is asked for 3 mark, each and every point little elaborately you have to explain. I have shown it in a shortcut way, but you have to explain further with 2 to 3 sentences of every property. Next, odd question in the same 24th question, explain the cleansing action of soap. So cleansing action of soap, very beautifully I have explained in one of my videos in the chapter called carbon and its compounds. You just have to visit the playlist and find out the video. You will get detailed explanation, right? So briefly I will explain. We all know what do you mean by soaps. What do you mean by soaps? Sodium or potassium salts of long chain carboxylic acids. So this is how we represent a soap molecule, and this is hydrophobic tail part and this is hydrophilic head part. Yes or no? And the moment you put soap in a water, there are so many molecules of these guys. So all of them will come and arrange in the form of a very special structure. We call these special structures as micelle, isn't it? So first step is forming micelle. Soap molecules will arrange themselves in a particular structure called micelle, right? And now these micelles are formed around the dirt. So imagine if this is the dirt, here the soap molecules gets arranged in the form of micelle around the dirt. Usually the dirt is some organic particle. Tail is organic in nature, no? So tail gets attached to the dirt particle. And the moment you flush water, what happens? Water takes away the head. Head will take away the tail. Tail finally takes away the dirt from the cloth. Isn't it? So this is what you have to explain in a point wise, which I have done in my video. You just have to refer that. Clear? So that is our cleansing action of soap. And the 25th question is again a diagram, electrolytic refining of copper, where you should mention the following parts like cathode and anode mud, right? So that diagram is also very important. It is the last diagram from the chapter metals and non-metals. You can refer the textbook. And now let us go for the next main, that is 11th main, which is a 4-mark question from chemistry. So this 26th question has two sub-questions A and B. Let us see the first sub-question. Explain the formation of the ionic compound magnesium chloride with the help of electron dot structure. This is a very common question. Say magnesium chloride, you have to explain. What initially happens is magnesium, what is its electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, isn't it? So this magnesium will lose 2 electrons and you will get Mg plus 2 ion whose electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. And next your chlorine, okay, which has an electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5, or you can write it as 2, 8, 7, right? And this one will gain 1 electron during the process. It will get converted as Cl minus, which is in a stable form 288. Now its electronic configuration is 288. So what actually happens is your magnesium, which had 2 outermost electrons, would react with 2 Cl. So Cl dot structure is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons. So this Cl, it is reacting with 2 chlorine atoms. So this is the dot structure of Cl. So 1 electron of magnesium shifts to 1 chlorine, another electron of magnesium shifts to another chlorine. So you will get Mg which is there in a plus 2 form, and Cl which is there in a minus 1 form, okay, twice. So that's how MgCl2 is formed, right? So these are the steps you have to clearly mention in the answer. Fine. Now second question, second sub question. Write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction of aluminium metal with steam. So aluminium, when it reacts with a steam, what do you get? You will get aluminium oxide plus hydrogen gas. So always the equations have to be balanced. So how do you balance the reaction? 2 aluminium, and here we'll put 3 H2O. If you put 3 H2O, your hydrogens are 3 2s are 6. So you will put 3 H2, right? So this is the balanced equation of aluminium reacting with steam. That's all about the chemistry part. And now let us quickly move on to part C, bio part. Coming to the MCQs of part C, biology, that is our 12th main, 27th question. The materials that change slowly their form and nature are used tea leaves, peels of vegetables, waste papers, plant fibers. So definitely that is option D, plant fibers. Take longer time for the decomposition. Like we get cotton cloth, plant fibers in the sense what it may be a cotton, silk, right? It will take little longer time. They are biodegradable, no doubt, but takes little time to degrade compared to used leaves and vegetables, right? Okay. 28th question. The pattern of response in the roots of plant is directional and negatively phototropic, positively phototropic and negatively geotropic, non-directional and positively geotropic, growth dependent and positively hydrotropic. See, the pattern of response in the root will grow. It grows in a certain direction and definitely it is negatively phototropic. Yes or no? So it can be an option A, directional and negatively phototropic. And coming to the next main, that is the 13th main. So it is a 1 mark question. 2 1 mark questions are there. Coming to the question number 29. Mention the reason for the depletion of ozone layer. So definitely the reason is chlorofluorocarbons, isn't it? So chlorofluorocarbons are the chemicals that we use it in refrigerators, which are responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. 30th question. Name any two ancient systems that were practiced to harvest rainwater. You can mention any two names here, like I remember ᴘᴇᴏ and ᴘᴏ right now. So I gave you the two names, ᴘᴇᴏ and ᴘᴏ, right? Okay. Coming to 14th main, 31st question. So it is a 2 mark question. How is oxygen-rich blood from the lungs supplied to all the cells in the human body? So how is oxygenated blood is supplied, they are asking. See here, what actually happens is your oxygenated blood travels. It actually travels from lungs, isn't it? Lungs to left atrium, isn't it? So how does the oxygenated blood moves from lungs to left atrium? It is by pulmonary vein. You shouldn't forget this word, very important, pulmonary vein. And again from left atrium to left ventricle, the oxygenated blood travels. Left ventricle, from left ventricle to aorta, it is a very big artery. Through aorta, it is distributed to all parts of a body, isn't it? Through various small arteries. So this is how the oxygenated blood that is supplied to all parts of the body. Fine. And there is a OR question here. How are the products of photosynthesis from the leaves get transported to all other parts of a plant? So how is the food transported in plant is what they are asking, right? So what is the process you call food getting transported from leaves to other parts of a body is called translocation, isn't it? Transportation of food is called translocation. And translocation is always done through a special tissue called phloem, isn't it? And here phloem contains sieve tubes. And do you know how does the glucose enters into sieve tubes? It is with the help of energy from ATP. Isn't it? And the moment food enters into a sieve tubes, there creates a pressure called osmotic pressure. All that we discussed in a detailed way in my videos, life processes video, where the playlist link is provided in the description. You can watch the concept and get a detailed clarity. Now I'm just explaining very briefly now, right? So the moment glucose goes into a sieve tube, there creates a pressure called osmotic pressure. So because of the difference in the osmotic pressure, because of difference in osmotic pressure, the food is transported from one sieve tube to another sieve tube. Like that, the food from the leaves is going to all parts of the plant body, right? So this is what the translocation takes place in plants. Fine. Now coming to the 32nd question, very simple question. The people who live in and around the forest are said to be the stakeholders of the forest. Why? Explain. So, among the four stakeholders, the people who live in forest are very important because for everything they are dependent on the forest. They depend for food on the forest, and they depend for shelter, right? The wood and various things that get from the forest is used as shelter, food, etc. For everything they depend on the forest. So that way, these are the people, they can actually protect the forest, right? Because forest is a great treasure for them. It is giving so many things, so that it's their duty, it's very mandatory thing for those guys to protect the forest, right? So since they are getting lot of use from a forest, they are called as the stakeholders of the forest. So all that you have to explain in a very detailed way, step by step, at least 4 points if you can write, you will get 2 marks, isn't it? And the 33rd question is a diagram. Draw the diagram showing the germination of pollen on stigma and label female germ cell. Where the diagram is available in the textbook, you can just refer and draw the diagram. Very simple diagram, isn't it? And now let us go for the 15th main. 15th main, 34th question. This is a 3-mark question. How do genes control the expression of tall or short traits in plant? Very interesting question. How do genes control the expression of tall or short? Right? Say normally, what do you mean by gene? Gene is a fraction of DNA. Yes or no? It's a fraction of DNA responsible for a particular character. Responsible for a particular character, isn't it? And what actually gene do? Gene codes for the information. It codes the information for the synthesis of certain protein. For the synthesis of certain protein, right? So what will this protein do? Say one example, say for example, there is a plant which is tall, right? And it has a gene for tallness, and this particular gene is coding an information to synthesize a particular enzyme. Yes or no? Enzyme is nothing but a kind of protein. And once it synthesizes a particular enzyme, and that enzyme is responsible for the production of more and more auxins. So when you have more and more auxins in a plant body, what happens? Automatically the plant grows out to be a taller plant. Yes or no? Plant grows out to be a taller plant, right? It is because the plant has a gene for tallness. This gene is coding the information. It is giving the information to synthesize certain enzyme, and this enzyme is responsible for the production of auxin. So when you have more amount of this enzyme, automatically more and more amount of auxins are produced. When you have more and more amounts of auxin, what happens? Automatically the growth is more in the plant, and plant grows out to be a taller plant, right? So this is how actually the gene is controlling a certain characters in a plant, right? So this gene is responsible to generate a certain protein, to synthesize a certain protein. So proteins are responsible for generating certain hormones. So altogether, hormones are working out in a different way so that the plants grows out to be a taller one or a shorter one. When you have less amount of oxygen, the plant grows out to be a shorter one. When you have more and more oxygen, plant goes out to be a taller one. So this is how genes actually, what do? They control the expression of tall or short traits in the plants. Okay, and there is or question here, and there is also or question. Acquired traits of an individual organism during its lifetime cannot direct the evolution. Explain this statement with an illustration. So what do you mean by acquired traits? Acquired traits in the sense traits that we get it during our lifetime. We don't get these traits. Traits are nothing but characters. We don't get these characters from our parents, isn't it? We get these traits or these characters during our lifetime. Say, for example, building a muscle, right? So how do you build a muscle? You don't get a muscle naturally, from your parent gene. What actually happens is we go for the gym, we will work it out, and so we get that big muscle. Or gaining a knowledge. How do you get a knowledge? It's by your hard work, right? So all these characters, gaining a knowledge, building a muscle, all these we acquire it by our hard work or strength, yes or no, during our lifetime. So definitely acquired traits doesn't lead to evolution, right? That's all about question number 34. And now let us go for question number 35 on the chapter reproduction. In female reproductive system, how does an egg from the ovary reach uterus and develops into fetus, right? So what actually happens is ovary is the organ which produces eggs, and these eggs reach fallopian tube. They go to fallopian tube. So there you will observe a process called fertilization. So what do you mean by fertilization? Fusion of egg and sperm is called fertilization. So after the fertilization, you will have a single celled structure called zygote, right? And this zygote divides to form a multicellular structure called embryo. And this embryo reaches uterus, and it gets implanted in the uterus, and this is what we call a process called implantation, isn't it? So what are the two processes that you will observe from the time ovary releases egg, it goes to fallopian tube and it reaches the uterus? First thing that happens is fertilization, which is happening in fallopian tube. That's nothing but sperm enter through cervix and it will meet the egg in the fallopian tube. So there occurs a fusion between egg and sperm. So you get the formation of zygote. Zygote becomes embryo. Embryo is the one which moves to the uterus, and there, the uterine wall becomes thicker. Uterine wall becomes thicker and thicker, which is rich with the blood. It is because to nourish the growing embryo that has got implanted on the walls of the uterus. Okay, so this is what happens, and this is how the egg from the ovary reach uterus and develops into fetus, right? And there in the uterus, this particular embryo gets nourishment from a very special tissue called placenta, right? So placenta is one important point. Under that, the second sub question: what are the changes that occur in the uterus for the development of the fetus? So once the fetus starts developing in the uterus, what are the changes you will observe in the uterus? See, uterine walls become thicker. Uterine walls become thicker, right? Say thicker, and they are richly supplied with the blood. They are supplied with blood, right? Because it is to nourish the growing embryo. It is to give nourishment to the growing embryo, right? And also there is a special tissue gets developed in the uterus, that is nothing but placenta. Through the placenta, the oxygen and the food goes to a baby from mother, right? So all these changes do occur whenever fetus starts developing in the uterus, right? So all these you have to mention in a step by step. Detailedly you have to write in the form of sentences. Clear? Fine. So 36th question is again a diagram of nephron. Draw the diagram showing the structure of nephron. Label the following parts: Bowman's capsule and collecting duct. So you have to draw the diagram of nephron here. Fine. Let us go for the last main, which is a 4-mark question, 37th question and 38th question. 37th question has 2 sub-questions. First one, how do the homologous characteristics in different organisms help to identify the evolutionary relationship? So what do you mean by homologous characteristics? So the best example is homologous organs, right? Homologous organs. So what do you mean by homologous organs here? Say these are the organs which have same structure but different functions, isn't it? So they are called as homologous organs. Can you give an example for homologous organ? It is forelimbs of reptiles, mammals, right? Birds are the examples. Say they have same structure but different function. Say looking at the same structure, say this confirms that they must have come from the same origin. Yes or no? Say these organs, when they had same origin, it confirms that they have the common ancestor. All these reptiles, birds, mammals, all of them must have had the same common ancestor. So this proves that the homologous characteristics in different organisms is the basic evidence for the evolution that has occurred. Okay. And coming to the second sub-question, how does Mendel's monohybrid cross experiment clarify that the traits of an organism independently inherent to the progeny? Say, what is a monohybrid cross? Do you remember? Say, in the first generation, in the F1 generation, you have observed, you got all tall plants, isn't it? And in the F2 generation, when you have did a cross between these two, and in the F2 generation, when you did a cross between capital T, small t, capital T, small t, do you remember here the alleles got separated in the gametes, right? So one gamete has got capital T, another gamete has got small t, and again capital T, small t. So when you combine them, what did you get? Say when you put a checkerboard, you got capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, small t, small t. So can you tell me what is the phenotypic ratio here? Phenotypic ratio is 3:1, right? So 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. And genotypic ratio is 1:2:1, right? Looking at this experiment, we can give conclusion that one point is very much clear. Characters such as height, color, etc. are inherited separately, independently. Yes or no? As discrete particles, which we call it as genes, right? Say this is what the conclusion we can give out of monohybrid cross. Coming to the last question, that is 38th question, again has 2 sub-questions. Question A, name the mineral required for the production of thyroxine hormone. What is the use of this hormone to our body? So which is the mineral responsible for the production of thyroxine? Definitely iodine. Yes or no? So iodine is the one which activates thyroid gland to produce thyroxine hormone. So what is the use of thyroxine hormone? Mainly for the metabolism, mainly for carbohydrate metabolism, right? Coming to B question, what are involuntary action? What are involuntary actions? The actions which are not under our thinking process. Actions which are not under the control of our thinking process are called involuntary actions. Name the parts of the human brain that control voluntary and involuntary actions. Voluntary actions are the actions which are under our thinking process control, right? Voluntary actions are controlled by a part called cerebrum, right? Cerebrum is the one which controls all our physical activities, and it's a seat of intelligence, seat of memory, everything. Cerebrum controls voluntary actions. And involuntary actions, midbrain as well as hindbrain. Midbrain as well as hindbrain, both of them control involuntary actions. So again, if you see the hindbrain, you have three parts, right? One is cerebellum, pons, cerebellum and medulla. And all the three control the involuntary actions, that is the actions which are not under our thinking process control, like breathing, heartbeat, digestion. So all these are different examples for involuntary actions. So that's all about the paper, model paper 2, which was released by Karnataka board. Hope this has given enough benefit for you. And in the future, we will come up with many more model papers, and we also have a plan of doing sample papers for CBSE board, because exams are very near to them. So we thought of doing sample papers for CBSE board also. So keep watching our video. Do subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in a easiest way and in a detailed way. See you with the next video. Thank you and all the very best for your preparation as well as for your examinations. Thank you.